So, good morning everyone. My name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this live session, we will be discussing Indian Express of the weekend as well as Mondays. So, we will start with some important articles, and before that I would like to make some announcements for you. And there is one clarification which was due from the last session, as we were talking about CBI, and there was this doubt regarding the statutory status, or you can say legal status of the CBI. We will be talking about that, and then we will start with the today's session. Okay, so I hope that is clear. So, let's start with the session now. Okay, first we will go with the explanation of the practice question. Okay, and afterwards there are 4 articles for us to discuss. There are few more, but 4 important articles from today. That is another attack in Pir Panjal. On Saturday there was this attack in Pir Panjal range. Okay, again this area has been disturbed recently because for like 15 years there was peace prevailed in that particular region, but in recent last 2-3 years we have seen that these attacks are again increasing. So, we will talk about that, why it is increasing, and second 2-3 things more we will talk about. Okay, then ETA's aquarid meteor shower. Okay, so this meteor shower is an activity which happens on the yearly basis. Okay, wherein in the sky you can see some particular phenomena. We will be talking about that, and we will see why this ETA aquarid is actually in news right now. Then what is goldine? Okay, we will talk about this goldine. This is a particular sheet of gold which has been made by scientists, and why it is special we will talk about that. Then tiger translocation to Sahyadris. Okay, so that in this particular article there are certain 4, 5, 6 protected areas, and I presume that there are chances that you will be asked something from that particular area if they ask a question on tiger reserve, if at all. So we will focus on that. From around the world we will see 1 or 2 news. Then for your own read there will be 2 articles, one from both of these will be from the explained column, which are quite simple. This is the front page of today's newspaper, and the phase 3 elections are around the corner now. Okay, phase 1 and phase 2 has been completed, and then there is this article related to IT clause to ensure MSMEs are paid on time creates a hurdle. Now, this particular clause which is saying that MSMEs are to be paid on time, but it is creating a hurdle. We will see how it is creating a hurdle and what can be a solution. Okay, so that article we will discuss. Now, let's start with the announcement first. So, Drishti IAS is excited to announce another batch, offline batch, that is IAS Foundation course. This will be the first course in Indore branch, and there will be a free online facility which is available in that. For Hindi medium, it will start on 6th of May, 11:30 a.m. For English medium, it start from 9th of May, 6:30 p.m. Okay. So, for more information, you can call on this number 9654 770 770. Okay. So, you can go ask details about this particular course and get enrolled. Now, moving further, there was this clarification, as I told you, CBI's statutory status. We have talked about this particular article, so I will not go into it. I will just tell you that CBI is not a statutory body. Now, there is this you can say notion that Delhi Special Police Establishment Act 1946, okay, from which it has been created. No, it is not the case. The thing is, it has been created with an executive order, but the thing is, it is deriving its powers from authorities from Delhi Special Police Establishment Act. Okay, so we can say that it is not a statutory body, but it is deriving its authorities from Delhi Special Police Establishment Act. Okay, I hope this is clear. So there should not be any kind of, you can say, dilemma or confusion regarding that. CBI is not a statutory body. Now, yesterday when we were talking about this particular article here, there was somewhere it is written that here you can say CBI cannot be considered a part of a part or department of the government of India, as it is a statutory body under Delhi Special Police Establishment Act. Now, this is an argument which has been presented by an attorney, or you can say that an advocate. Okay, so this is an argument, not a fact again. Okay, so that is why here remember that CBI is not a statutory body, it is just deriving its power to investigate from Delhi Special Police Establishment Act. Okay, now we can move further, and we will start with the practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture. Now, civil proceedings against the president or governor for the actions done in their personal capacity requires, okay, a prior approval from the prime minister. So this is incorrect. Then a notice period of 1 month. Okay, then notice period of 2 months, approval from the Supreme Court. This is also incorrect. Now, there is a provision for the notice, and the time period for that notice is 2 months. Okay, so a prior notice of 2 months is required when we are talking about a civil proceedings. When we are talking about the criminal proceedings, you know that president and governor are immune from the criminal proceedings till the time they are in the office. Once they are out of office, then that investigation can be started. Okay, so option C would be your right answer. Now let's start with the first article of the day, that is related to your attack which has happened in Pir Panjal. Hold on. Okay. So recently in last 2-3 weeks, and when we are talking about last 1 or 2 years, we have seen that the areas, or you can say this particular events of these terrorist attacks which are increasing in the Pir Panjal range. Okay. So why Pir Panjal? We will talk about that. We will see on the map. Before that, I will just go through the incident. What is the incident? We will talk about the reasons, etc. later. Okay. One Air Force personnel killed and 4 injured as convoy attacked by a terrorist in Poonch. Okay. An Air Force personnel was killed and 4 other injured in a terror attack in Jammu's Poonch area. Okay. This area of Poonch, Rajouri, these are the areas which are basically, you can say part of your Pir Panjal range. Okay. Now, it is somewhere near Sasitar, that is between Surankot, Sinai and Meandhar Gursai region. Okay. You don't have to remember all these things, but just remember one particular name, that is Surankot. If you have followed our lecture from the start, we have talked about this Surankot. Okay. Surankot used to be it used to act as a region, or you can say a base for these terrorists. While crossing the Pir Panjal, what used to happen is that it is a hilly area. So for transiting from that particular area, you need to put some camps. Okay. So Surankot was the camp wherein these terrorists used to stay, or go for the training, etc. So that is why it is important. Later on, what happens that Indian Army has gone for various sanitization activities, various operations, and they have actually sanitized this area from the terrorists. And since then, this base was not working at all. Okay. Now coming to here, you can say the combing and the search operation has been going on in the area between Meandhar and the Surankot for the past few days, following the reports of militant movement. During the search, militant opened fire on a vehicle carrying the Air Force personnel, and who retaliated, and then there was this incident which happened. So basically, there was these reports which are saying that there are presence of militants in that area, and following the report, the forces over there, they went for the operations, etc. In one of such operation, this incident has happened. Okay. You know that elections are due in this particular area, polls on 25th of May. The third militant attack in Pir Panjal region spread over Rajouri and Poonch district in last 2 weeks. Okay, in the last 2 weeks, this is the third incident which is happening over there. Now coming to the area, and I will tell you why this is important for us. Now here you can see this area over here is basically your Pir Panjal. Okay, now this is Pir Panjal, and then this is your valley of Kashmir over here. This is the valley. This is the valley part over here, and this is your Pir Panjal range. And somewhere here, when we are talking about the Rajouri Poonch, in between there is this place called Surankot. Now you know that this is your LOC. Now this portion is your LOC. Okay. Now earlier, what used to happen is that they used to cross from this area. They used to go through these mountain ranges, and then they used to go for the attacks in the Kashmir Valley region. Okay. But then when you can say in 2005 around, this area was sanitized with the help of local. There are these communities, that is Gujar and Bakarwals. With the help of these communities, this area was totally sanitized. This terrorist was held back, and then this was a peaceful region for you can say a time of nearly 15 years till 2018-19. We can say that this area was free of these attacks. Okay. This Kashmir Valley region is still free because there is presence of forces. But what happened that they know that now they cannot cross this particular region. So what they started doing, they started going for these activities in the Poonch and Rajouri district itself. Okay, in this particular area itself. Okay. Now the thing is, earlier, as I told you, the locals were in support of the army, and then they used to give this information, etc. One thing. Second thing is, you know that there was this issue in when we are talking about the Galwan issue which has happened. Before that, Doklam has happened. So in 2017 to 2020, we have seen various aggression on the LAC region because of the China's activities over there. So what we did was we started deploying forces from this area to that area. Okay, these forces started, you can say, redistribution of the allocation of forces which happened. Okay, this redeployment which has happened from this particular area to here. So you can say that the focus was shifted to the LAC at that point of time. Now these militants got the opportunity to go for the attack against. Okay, so this opportunity they got from this particular redeployment, and they started planning these attacks again. Okay, and this because of these things, now these things are happening again. Now the question is, why can't we go for the help of locals again and do these activities or operations from the taking intelligence from them? Now the problem is that earlier this area, when we are talking about back then 2000s and 2005, the locals were present over there, and there was no issue of this employment, etc. Okay, obviously issue was there, but they were doing their own agricultural work, etc. But the thing is, now these locals are moving from that particular region towards the metro cities, etc. One thing. Second thing, because of the forest acts, etc. So they cannot go for the gathering of the forest produce over there. Okay, so there are certain restrictions. Other than that, the local communities among themselves are also fighting for the rights when we are talking about the land, when we are talking about the forest, etc. So local communities are also fighting. So their focus is not on this particular matter. Okay, and that is why they are now leaving this particular area, and now we cannot take the help of these people as we did in 2005. No doubt there are some informants, there are some people who are with the military, no doubt the people in that particular area with the military, but the thing is they have their own problems to focus on. Okay, so now this is the issue, because of which now in this particular area we can see that recently these actions are again started because of the redeployment of the forces to the LAC region and the border along the China, and that is why we are seeing such incidences again. Okay, so now we can move further with the next article, that is related to your Nepal. Nepal has come up with their new currency notes, and in that new currency notes they have shown a map, and in that particular map they are showing Indian territories as their own territories. Now that is an issue for us, because after there was a regime change in the Nepal a few years back. Since then there was you can say tension between India, or you can say some kind of strain between India and Nepal relations. Okay, but it was actually in the recent past, if you say like last 1 to 3 years, we have seen that was actually repaired. But the thing is, with this particular incident we can say that again there is the tension. Second thing is, our ministry has responded with that, and even the locals in the Nepal, they are also saying that this was not a right move to go for. Okay, now let's see Nepal on the map. Nepal map on the currency note to have Indian areas. External Affairs Ministry speak out. Here you can say 4 years after ties between India died when Nepal included the areas of Kalapani, Lipolek, Limpiadhura on its new map. The government in Kathmandu has decided to come out with a 100 rupees currency note that depicts the country's map with an area that is under the Indian control. Okay. Now Kathmandu's decision drew a sharp response from the External Affairs Ministry, or the Minister S. Jaishankar has said that Nepal's move will not change the situation or the reality on the ground. Now when we are talking about the reality or the ground situation, these areas are de facto with India right now. Okay. Now here you can say our position is very clear. With Nepal, we are having discussions about our boundary matters through an establishment, or you can say an established platform. In the middle of that, they have unilaterally took some measures on their own side. Now this measure of going for the coming up with a new currency with a map which is showing Indian territory on their map, that is a unilateral action, while there are border talks which are going on with the two countries. Okay. Now Delhi's inauguration of new road in May 2020 from Darchula to Lipulek. This road which we have actually built, that, or you can say we have planned to build this particular road, that is Darchula to Lipulek. That is important for us because of the Mansarovar Yatra. Okay, so this is a practice which is going on for years. So when we are talking about this Mansarovar Yatra route, there is this road which we are trying to, or you can say we have inaugurated that particular road. Okay, because of which they had this concern, and then they came out with a new map, adding to it a nearly 370 square kilometer of tri-junction of Nepal, India and China, which India maintains which is our territory. Okay, so we are saying that is our territory, and they have mentioned it on their own map, because we have gone for the, you can say, announcement of this particular road. Okay, now the latest decision has met with skepticism and criticism at home. When we are talking about Nepal, there are some leaders who have said that it was an unwise and provocative move when we are talking about the relations between India and Nepal. Nepal being in dispute with India over parts of its territory is one thing, but the printing of the currency, a map that is different from what international bodies including the two neighbors has recognized is unwise. Okay. So now when we are talking about this particular person or the leaders from the Nepal, they are saying that this was you can say not a wise decision, because even the international bodies are not considering that as a boundary of our Nepal and India. Okay. So that is about Nepal, and we will talk some disputed areas between India and Nepal. When we are talking about this particular incident, we are talking about here Kalapani, Lipu Lake and Limpiathura. Now what is the problem is that earlier there was this river which is forming a boundary with India and Nepal, that is Kali river. Now this Kali river has shifted the course. Earlier when we are talking about the what is the demarcation has happened, we have considered this Kali river as a boundary. Now rivers has this tendency to change the course, and accordingly Kali river has changed its course, and we got to now Nepal is saying that since the current course of Kali is somewhere, and they are saying that now these areas are under their territories. Okay. Now the issue is because of the change in the river course of Kali river, so that is why this becomes important. Now these are the areas, basically this is the 370 square kilometers of the land which they are claiming, but that is India's part. Okay. So I hope this is clear. Please remember these three names, that is Lipu Lake, Kalapani and Limpiathura. That is quite important for us. Then there is another area. Okay, this is the Lipu Lake area which is in dispute. Then there is some area that is Susta. This area is present in Bihar of India. Okay. That is also a contested territory, because that is what Nepal is claiming, but we know that this is part of India. Second thing is, this is also because of a river that names Susta, river with a name Susta, and because of the change in the course or the trajectory of this particular river, now this area has also been, you can say, a legacy dispute, because this has been a dispute for a while. This is a recently aroused dispute. Okay. So I hope this is clear. Now these are four areas: Limpiathura, Kalapani, Lipu Lake, that is in the Uttarakhand part, and when we are talking about this particular area, that is Susta, it is in Bihar, and that is also you can say disputed. Okay. Now moving further, IT clause to ensure MSMEs are paid on time creates a hurdle. Okay, I will not go into all these things. You can read it on your own. I will tell you what is the issue. Now, when we are talking about the interim budget, Income Tax Act, in interim budget, or you can budget 2024, sorry 23-24, not interim budget, the budget 23-24. Okay, in that budget, the government has come up with a provision which says that whatever companies which are having a transaction with the MSMEs, they have to pay or you can say settle the bills in the 45 days. Okay, if they want to avail the you can say the refunds which are from the tax authorities which are they getting, so for that you have to go for the settlement of the bills in 45 days. Okay, now that was the provision. Now let's see, I will read it out for you. This is the first paragraph, I will read it out for you. The new provision in the Income Tax Act in budget 23-24 to secure payment to micro, small and medium enterprises, that is MSME, within 45 days of the supply of the goods or services has resulted in a peculiar problem. Okay, now what is the problem? That you have said that in the 45 days you have to finish the payment. Now the big companies are not giving these payment in 45 days. So why now if they are not giving this particular you can say payment in 45 days, then because of the this particular provision, they will be awarded with some kind of penalty in the form of the non-refund of the taxes. Okay, now the thing is they do not want that, because these are the companies and they have this principle, that is they have to go for the profit. Now what they did was they started to engage with the unregistered MSMEs. Okay, now when we are talking about any kind of plan or provisions which government has made, so these MSMEs, they can only track if it is registered MSME. Okay, and now since it is registered MSME, you have to pay within 45 days. Now what companies did that, they started going for the unregistered one. Okay, so that provision won't be working over there. Okay, now because of which these registered MSMEs are facing a decline in the you can say trade or their own transactions. Okay, now that is why this is creating a hurdle in their working of the MSMEs. Okay, now second thing what is happening is that because of this particular incident which is happening, these MSMEs who are registered, they starting to go for the deregistration, because they know that if they register there will be a settlement in 45 days. Okay, and if they deregister, okay, that settlement will be around some 120 to 180 days. But the thing is, ultimately they will have a business. Okay, if this is the case, and these companies are going for the unregistered ones, okay, so these registered MSME will be out of the business and this business will collapse, and that is why they started to going for the deregistration. That is the whole issue. Now few of them has gone to the government, and they have said that you have to change this provision, or you can say you have to make some other provision regarding that. Okay, now the government has asked for the opinions, or you can say views, from the stakeholders. So that is the issue. Now let's say, if you want, I will read it for you. Okay, now what is the problem? The large companies cancelling orders to registered MSME and placing these orders with the unregistered MSME. I told you why this is happening. Okay, some MSMEs associations has approached the Supreme Court against the new norm, and the Union Ministry has reached out to the industry player for the solution. Okay, these people, these registered MSMEs, they have gone to the Supreme Court, and then this ministry has gone to the stakeholders, so that there can be a a problem, that there can be a solution which can be worked out. Okay, now asked stakeholders to the suggesting some ways, recommend possible alternative mechanism for the timely clearance of the MSMEs bill. Now the rationale behind it was a very pious, or you can say very right intention, because they wanted these MSMEs to get their settlements within 45 days, so that business cycle can go smoothly. But the thing is, if they go for such loopholes, then ultimately that has started harming their own interest. Okay, now larger companies were otherwise not allowed to make deductions in their tax returns. Okay, as I told you, there will be some kind of penalty. That penalty is that when we are talking about these tax returns, there are certain deductions which can be made when you are settling in the 45 days. Now if you are not settling in that, then these deduction cannot be made. Okay, so resulting in the prospect of increased tax liability. If you are not going for the deductions, obviously your tax liability will increase. Okay, let's say there is an amount of 2 lakh rupees you are filing a return for, or 20 lakh rupees you are filing a return for, and these deductions are amounting to, let's say, some 5 lakh rupees. Okay, now then you have to pay for file a return, and you have to pay for nearly 15 lakhs. But if these deductions are not there, you have to pay for the 20 lakhs. That is basically your tax liability being increased over here. Okay, now that is resulting into the ballooning of the tax liabilities. MSME owners too reported cancellation of the orders due to their these new tax clauses, and then there are shifting business from the registered ones to unregistered ones. Okay, so that is about this particular thing. Normally if we see these cycle of payment is nearly 90 to 120 days. In case of unregistered MSMEs, it can go further up to 180 days. Okay, now this has unintentionally resulted into a competition between the registered and the unregistered MSMEs, with many smaller entities opting for deregistration. As I told you, since these registered MSMEs are not getting the business, then they are going for the deregistration so that they can survive, otherwise their business will collapse. Okay, a full year was given people to prepare for it. It did not come in this case in this year's budget, but the last year's budget. Okay, so that was the mistake I made in the earlier part. So this particular provision which has come in the last year's budget, so 1 year was given to these companies to go for you can say such things, but they did not. Everybody knew it was going to kick in from April 1. Large corporates will face problems. They usually ask for 180 days payment cycle. They have enough money, let them pay in time. What is the issue? Now the thing is, large companies generally go for the time of 180 days payment cycle, because obviously their transactions are bigger. But when we are talking about their business with the MSMEs, obviously these are medium or the small size industries, so obviously their payments are less. Okay, and ultimately you can say that if the payments are less and these are the big corporates, so you can go for such payments in 45 days. Okay, so what is the issue over here? So that is about this particular IT course, and because of which MSMEs are having some hurdles and they have gone to the Supreme Court. Let's see what Supreme Court decides. We will see afterwards when the some kind of order comes from the Supreme Court. Now next part is, what is Eta Aquarmetor meteor shower set to light up the night sky this weekend. Okay, so first of all, what are these meteor shower, what are meteoroids, or what is this meteor, what is comet? You need to have some certain idea about it. When we are talking about these comets are the bodies which were, you can say, remnants of the solar system. Okay, let's say 4.5 billion years 4.5 billion years ago, when this galaxy was forming, when universe was forming, then when the solar system came into existence, and because of which, or you can say earlier we know that there was these all ice formations, okay. Then solar systems came into existence. Then there were some remnants of these ice, dust, etc. Now these remnants, which are very large in size, these are comets, okay. So let's see, first I will tell you what is comets, etc. Then we will go to the thing, okay. Now here you can say there is this particular light over here. So these are the remnants of from the universe formation, or you can say solar systems formation. Here you can say when we are talking about these comets, these comets are a solid body made of ice, rock, dust and frozen gases. As they fracture and disintegrate from the comets, leave a trail of solid debris, okay. So at that point of time, these were the, you can say, nothing but the you can say aggregation of these gases, you can say ice, rocks, dust and the frozen gases, okay. Now they started disintegration. When they move, they leave a trail of these debris, okay, or you can say leave a trail of these small components from which these are built, okay. Again, these are not very small components, okay, but the thing is, in the size of when we are talking about the size of your solar system, when we are talking about the size of universe, with that respect it is small, you can say these things. When we are talking about these asteroids, whatever they have left behind, okay, in that one solid rock formations are there, but they are relatively smaller than the comets, and that is why these are called asteroids, okay. So small rocky iron or icy debris flying in the space, okay. Then when we are talking about these meteoroids, these are even smaller in the size. From when we are talking about these particular asteroids, these are having a particular type of size, and then you can say smaller version of that, that is basically your meteoroid, okay. These are small asteroid itself, okay. Now coming to the what is meteor shower, okay. Before that I will tell you what is meteor itself. These meteoroids, when we are coming when they are coming towards the earth's atmosphere, they having some kind of friction with the airs and the other components of the earth's atmosphere, because of which they start burning up, okay. And they, you can say, emit some kind of light over here. The light emitted from the meteoroids or the asteroids as it enters from in the atmosphere. Now because of which they actually emit a light, and these are basically your meteor shower, okay. These are annual events, they keep happening, and when we are talking about the existence of these meteor showers, they are mostly happening around the you can say time of May, okay. So this is the time which is right now going on, and that is why these are basically in news, okay. Now from the earth you will see that there is some kind of, you can say, fireworks kind of things, okay. So here you can say an annual event when the earth passes through the region of having a concentration of debris such as particles left by the comets, okay. So when we are talking about the, you can say, when our solar system, that is your sun, and then there is earth which is revolving around the sun, okay. Now when earth is passing through an area from where a comet has been passed in the past, and then because of which there was some kind of debris which was left over there, and then when earth is passing through this particular area, then we will see that these meteor showers are visible, and we know that every year earth will pass from this particular area, and that is why this is an yearly occurrence which is happening, okay. So it looks like a meteor radiates from some point in the night sky. So these are quite visible in the night sky, and there are sometimes they are more you can say brighter. They take name of fireballs or bolide, okay. Then what is meteorite, okay. Now till now we are talking about the meteoroids, meteor. What is meteorite? Meteorites are the you can say these bodies, or you can say these meteors which has come toward the earth's atmosphere, and they have touched down the ground, okay. They have come to the earth, okay. Now that is called meteorites, okay. Now we have meteorite lakes, etc., and that is the phenomena which is created by the impact. When there is a body, or you can say this much you can say if a rock, or let's say if a bigger rock comes towards the earth area, and they impact with the earth, and there is a crater which is formed by this particular impact, then you can say that there will be a lake, that is meteorite lake, okay. So I hope these phenomena are basically clear over here. First is your comets. These are the remnants of the solar systems which when it was forming, and they are when they disintegrate, they leave behind some rocks. These are basically your asteroids, and these asteroids in the smaller size are called meteoroids. Meteoroids which are entering inside the earth atmosphere, they are called meteors. These meteors, when they touch down the earth, that is called meteorite, okay. And what is meteor shower? I have already told you, okay. So now coming to the today's article. Now this article is nothing but a piece of cake. Here you can say that ETA Aquarmetor meteor shower, which is taking place, or they have started from activities from the April 15th and will peak around the May and May 5th and May 6th. As I told you, this is your sun. Earth is revolving in an path over here, and let's say this is the area from where a comet has passed in the past. Okay, now Earth is moving, revolving around it, and they comes in this particular area. Okay, now when Earth is in this particular area for a particular period of time, it will show the all these meteor shower will be happening in that particular zone. Okay, so that is why it is an early occurrence. Okay. What are the comets? I have already told you. Meteor showers comes from the comets, which are frozen leftovers from the formation of the solar system some 4.6 billion years ago. These are dust, rocks, ice, etc. These are orbiting around the sun. Okay. Now, when we are talking about NASA, there are nearly NASA has said that there are nearly 4,000, or you can say 3,910 comets which are known, and there are billions which in the theory which are existing in the galaxies, in the various solar systems and the galaxies. When we are talking about our own solar system, there are billions of them beyond the Neptune. Okay, so that is something you can remember in the Kuiper belt, and even more when we are talking about Oort cloud. Okay, so these two terms, that is Kuiper belt and the Oort cloud. When we are talking about the Kuiper belt, that is the belt where these you can say comets and the asteroids are found, that is beyond the Neptune. Okay, so please remember that there are different in size, shape, etc. As they come closer to the sun, comets heat up and spew gases and the dust and growing heat into the larger planet, larger than the planet. Sometimes when they are coming towards the sun, they can grow in size, that is basically larger than the planets. Okay, don't remember all these things, you don't have to do some PhD in that. Now, how exactly the meteor shower are related to the comets? Okay, I told you how it is related to the comets. Okay, so this is the specific thing here. These are the comets, and from which they are actually coming into form of these meteors, and meteors are showing the phenomena of meteor shower. Okay, so here you can say meteors are simply grains or the dust or the rocks that burn up when they enter the Earth's atmosphere and create a brief trail. Okay, or you can say tail. That is basically you are seeing it as a meteor shower. Okay, the most meteors are tiny, completely burn before they are entering into the, before they are touching down the Earth's atmosphere. That is why we won't see such incidents whenever we will see that an outer side's body has come and impacted the Earth. But there are certain cases when it has happened, then it is called meteorite. Okay. A meteor shower can be observed when the Earth passes through the clouds of the dust left behind in the comet's orbital plane, which I have already told you that this particular thing, the sky lights up and the small and the larger meteor trails as debris left behind by the comet interacts with the Earth's atmosphere. There are two things. One thing is that there are gases and particles which are present over here, because of which, and the Earth's atmosphere has certain ions, etc., and because of which you can say that there can be these interactions and you will see some kind of lights. Okay, like phenomena like aurora, etc., which are happening on the daily basis. Okay, that is another thing, but similar phenomena can be seen. One thing is that. Second thing is because of the friction. Okay, they will start burning up, and then this will be the thing. Here, the Eta Aquarmetor meteor shower is formed when the Earth passes through the orbital plane of a famous Halley's comet. Okay, now this Halley's comet. Okay, Halley's comet. Now, when we are talking about they are moving, or the Earth is passing through a particular place, or you can say a trail of the comet. Now, when Earth is passing through this particular Halley's comet's you can say orbit, or you can say the path, then this particular meteor shower is visible, that is ETA's accurate meteor shower. Okay, again here you can read it as the when Earth is passing through the orbital plane of the famous Halley's comet, which takes around 76 years to the orbit to finish, or you can say to take a revolution around the sun. Okay, as I told you, these comets are also moving around the sun. Okay, because these are also remnants of the, you can say, these solar system only. Okay, so these are having the tendency of this this thing. Okay, it takes nearly 76 years to complete the revolution, and which has happened actually in 1986 last time, which is due in 2061. Okay, so that is about your ETA's this comet. Why ETA accurates are unique? They are known for their rapid speed. Okay, you don't have to remember all these things, but when we are talking about the number, that will be quite visible in the southern hemisphere, and it will be less visible in the northern hemisphere. Okay, And so how to catch the ETA accurate meteors are, okay. So as I told you that it will happen every year in the time of this month, April and May. So at that point of time you can see. First thing, second thing is these are visible from the naked eyes as well, okay. They will have you can say sometimes these meteors are even brighter than the some planets, okay. So that is one thing. Second thing is, if not from the naked eyes, then if there is a smaller degree of telescope, if a small telescope is there, you can catch it from the small telescope as well, okay. Now moving further, we can move to the next article that is related to a particular you can say some satellites which are going to go out of service because of the time they were expected to serve. That time has already been passed, and the agencies like NASA, etc., they were trying to work it off, okay. So there are, you don't have to remember all these things, okay, because that is of no use. When we are talking about the satellites, there are certain functions. When we are talking about the surveillance function, or you can say transmission of the frequencies, etc., these are the basic functions, you know that, and you have been studying all these things in your, you can say, static part. So if you have any kind of doubt, you can go through this particular part wherein you can say that these are the functions which has been performed by these three satellites. Just remember the name of these three satellites, that is Terra, Aqua and Aura. These are basically orbiters, okay. These orbiters are quite you can say important when we are talking about NASA. So these have been giving some kind of information, okay. So when we are talking about these three orbiters which are going out of service, as of now they do not have anything to replace it. They are working on one of such orbiter, but not three. But again, the technology has enhanced. We will see what they are working on. But as of now, you have to remember all these three names, that these three you can say orbiters are going out of service, okay. Now when we are talking about UPSC has this tendency to ask the terminologies which has been in news, okay. They will give you like Terra, Aqua, Aura, what are these has been in the news, and what are these entities, okay. They can ask you that these are some kind of bitcoins, they can ask you these are some kind of orbiters or some kind of lakes. All these things they can do. So please remember these three names, Terra, Aqua and Aura. Now moving further, there is this article related to the Goldine, okay. Now I will tell you what is Goldine and why it is important, and how it is made. That is not of any importance for you, okay, because you don't have to go into so much details. Just think that when we are talking about gold or any kind of matter which is happening, so we know that it is made of atoms, okay. Let's say there is some kind of any kind of metal, let's say this water bottle, these are all made of the plastics, and these molecules, these atoms are there which are forming a particular shape, okay. Now when we are talking about this Goldine is nothing but a sheet, okay, a simple sheet which is made of gold. But the thing is, this thickness of this sheet is only one atom, okay, one atom thickness. You can say that when we are talking about the thickness, there is only one atom, and in the, you can say, whenever we are talking about sheets, these are two-dimensional structures. So there will be other atoms which are in this form. But when we are seeing it from the side, you will see only a line of one atom, okay. So that will be like this, okay. But in this line there will be various atoms. So by this formation they are forming a sheet. When we are talking about earlier formations, there are some research which has been done. They have made such sheets with one atom, but generally these sheets were in the form of sandwich, okay. They have to put some one sheet over them and one sheet below them, so that these does not crumbles and form into some other kind of shape, okay. That is why this becomes important, because this is basically stable in the form of 2D sheet with the thickness of one atom, and that is why it becomes important, okay. Now here you can say, for the first time researchers have created a freestanding sheet of gold that is only one atom thick, okay. This makes the gold first metal to be formulated into a 2D sheet that is freestanding. Again I am telling you freestanding, otherwise there are various sheets which has been formed in the formation of sandwich, where there is another layer above and another layer below, and in the middle they will have this particular sheet, okay. Now developing Goldine, this was not easy, because when we are talking about these structures, or when we are talking about these atoms, they have tendency to cluster together. When we are talking about these metals, metal have tendency to form clusters, okay. You can say that they try to come together. When we are talking about the melting points, etc., you have seen that you take a sheet of gold, you heat it for a moment, and it will crumble into a ball. Okay, so that is the tendency. They have a tendency to cluster together. Okay, so that is why it is not easy. Since 2014, since 2004, there have been certain developments in this regard, when there was this graphene which has been formed. Okay, but other 2D materials has been formed. But when we are talking about this particular metal, this is the first one. Okay, metals have tendency to cluster together to form you can say some kind of cluster, or you can say nanoparticles. Instead, they will not be in the form of sheet. Even if at the smaller scale, if we see, they can be in the form of nanoparticles, but not in the form of sheet. Okay, previously produced gold sheet sandwiched between two other materials, that is you don't have to remember the name of all these materials, but earlier they used to go with the silicon. First there will be silicon atom, sheet of silicon atoms, and then there will be another sheet of titanium carbide. Okay, so these are the two layers which they used to have. What are the potential applications? So when we are talking about the size, or when we are talking about the shape of this particular thing, it is a sheet. Okay, gold have this particular use in the you can say that as a catalyst in the various reaction. It has the role of catalyst in the form of ball, or in the form of any other kind of shape. If you send, there will be a 3D structure in which there will be some gold particles which will be inside this particular stress. Let's say if you are using this kind of cuboid. Okay, so in the reaction, on the surface, whatever gold particles are there, they will react fast, and there are gold particles which are inside it, they might go waste. Okay, because of the extent of the reaction. But when you have a sheet, okay, so only one atom is there, so you can go for the optimal use of it. So less gold will be used, and the more effectively that reaction can perform. Okay, so similarly, there are various other you can say metals which can be converted into such forms, and they can be used for various things. When we are talking about our electronics electronics industry, there are various such metals, etc., which has been used. They can be formed in the form of these sheets, and then can be used. So these are having a various you can say potential for the future when we are talking about science and technology. So you can go through this particular thing. So that is about your golding. You just have to remember that it is a 2D sheet, and this is the first time a metal sheet has been formed in the thickness of one atom. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Now we can move further. Now there is this translocation which is happening from Maharashtra's Tadoba Andhari to Sahyadris. Okay, when we are talking about Sahyadri is one of the tiger reserve where there is no tiger. Okay, so there are 4-5 tiger reserves. Okay, so there are I'll tell you the name of 5 tiger reserves in which there is no tiger. Okay, one is your Sahyadris. Second is your Kaval. Kaval, it is in Andhra Pradesh. Sorry, it is in Telangana. Kaval is in Telangana. Then we have Satkoshia. Then we have Dampa. Okay, and then we have Kamlang. Now these are the 5 tiger reserves wherein in the last census we have seen that there is no tiger. Okay, zero tiger, because of which government is trying to go for the translocations to these particular areas so that there can be a revival of the population. Okay, the first is Sahyadris. Sahyadris are mostly basically when we are talking about the location, you know that our coastal areas are like this. Okay, when we are talking about the Western Ghats, these are basically your Sahyadris. Okay, starting from the Gujarat, somewhere down in the end of the Gujarat and south of the Gujarat and till the Maharashtra and Karnataka region, that is basically your Sahyadris. Okay, in that particular area there is this Sahyadri tiger reserve. Okay, wherein there is no tiger, and now government has gone for the government has given the approval. National Tiger Conservation Authority has given the approval, and they are waiting a response from the ministry, and they will tranquilize these tigers and they will relocate them to the Sahyadris. Okay, they are sending it from the Tadoba Andhari. Tadoba Andhari, it is in that Maharashtra. So please remember this. In the second phase, what they will do is they will send some tigers from the Pench tiger reserve. When we are talking about this Pench is in some part it is in Madhya Pradesh and some is in Maharashtra. Okay, and from that they will translocate them to the Sahyadris. Okay, Now there is this when we are talking about the translocation project, these tigers has to be tranquilized, or you can say make some some kind of unconscious or subconscious. For that tranquilizers are used. Okay, for that permission is required under the Wildlife Protection Act. There is a provision, and under that particular provision there is a permission which has to be required from the ministry. Once that permission comes, and then they will be tranquilized, and then they will be shifted. Okay, now that is about your this article. Please remember these five which I have mentioned over here. These five are very important when we are talking about your tiger reserves in this particular year. So here Kaval is in Telangana, Kamlang in Arunachal Pradesh, Dampa in Mizoram, Satkoshia in Odisha, then Shahadris which are basically in Maharashtra. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Then there was another thing which is related to here you can say these map which I have wanted to discuss. That is, one is here Shahadris which are having 0 tigers. Then you have Kaval. This Kaval is in Telangana. I will write it down. Telangana. Then these are in Maharashtra. Then you have Satkoshia. Satkoshia is in Odisha. Then you have Dampa. Dampa is in Mizoram. Then you have Kamlang, that is basically in Arunachal Pradesh. Please remember these five. These are the most important tiger reserve when we are talking about this year. Okay. Next, there is this church. Okay. St. John's Church. This is not much important, but I am telling you this because if you are writing an essay and you are giving they are talking about some diversity in India, or you can say the cultural aspect or the tolerance in India. If you give this example, this is the best example I could see in like last few months. So here you can say this is the picture of the church. Here you can say in the top of the church you can see a shikhar. Okay, shikhar is a phenomena which you will see in the architecture of the temple architecture. Basically, if we are talking about, you will see this phenomena. Then here you can see that this chhatri and anda is there, and then above that there is the this cross which is over here. Okay, so basically they have taken architecture from the temples and they have imbibed it. Second thing which you can see, there is this particular jali work, etc. Jali works are mostly we have seen in the Mughal times. Okay, then there is this particular plate wherein it is written in Urdu, that is basically they have written their name, that is you can say Muqaddas Yohana ka Girza. Okay, this Girza Ghar is the term which is used for the churches. So here it is written in Urdu, that is Muqaddas Yohana ka Girza. Yohana or Saint John is basically the same name. When we are talking about Jesus, they call it Yeshu. Okay, and when we are talking about these John, Saint John, there is this basically, that is Yohana. Okay, so basically that is the example I wanted to tell you. Here you can say this is the arch, which is also a phenomena of Mughal architecture. Okay, and this particular entity is a church. Okay, so that is the most beautiful example of the religious tolerance when we are talking about this particular area. Now this is present in Delhi, Mehroli village. Okay, this has been built in the time of Britishers, etc. So you can go through this particular article and you can quote it as a case study, or you can quote it as an example. Okay, now moving further, from around the world, there was this particular article, that is Hamas says latest truce talks are ending and Israel vows military operations across Gaza. So there was this peace talks which has been going on in Cairo, but they have come out with no results. Again, that is a dead end. And then Israeli cabinet votes to shut down Al Jazeera's operation in the country. So there is this broadcasting of the news channel which has been, they are saying that till the war is going on in this particular area, their broadcast of the operation will be shut down. Okay, so that is not important as per se. For your own read, there are two articles. One is what is artificial general intelligence and why people worried about it. Now this is a very basic concept. We have discussed artificial intelligence various times, so I don't think we need to waste time on this. So you can go through this particular article. It is given in a very simple language, so you can go through this. Okay. Then second article is that is COVID virus is still here. Why aren't more people falling ill? Now COVID virus, recently there was a virus when we are talking about another variant that was found in Kerala. Okay, so when we are saying that this virus is there, the new variants are still there, then why is that people are not falling ill? So that is because of the herd immunity. Okay, that is the one answer. There are various things which has been discussed over here, so you can go through this particular article. Okay, So this will revise your concept of the COVID as well as the answer that why people are not getting ill. Okay, so these two articles are for your read. Now the last part, that is your practice question. Which famous comet has orbital period of approximately 76 years and was seen last in 1986? Answer options are given: Halley's comet, Hale-Bopp comet, comet ISON, comet Yakuk-Tek. Okay, so you can attempt this question and answer in the comment box. We have already discussed this, so you can, if you have no idea, you can watch the lecture again, then you can attempt this question and answer in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. I'll see you in the next session. Till then, have a good day. Thank you, and please subscribe the channel.